Okay, welcome to this episode of the Smart Leaders Sell podcast. I'm Jessica Lorimer, sales coach and leadership expert, and I'm really excited to be joined by the amazing Kemberli today. Great name. I have to start the podcast with that. Great name.
Thanks so much, Jess.
It's one of those things, isn't it? Because I must admit, so Kemberli is actually part of our Dotty crew. And when I saw your name, I was like, she means Kimberly. And I literally said to Beth, I was like, it's really funny. This woman spelled her name wrong. And Beth was like, no, it's Emily. And I was like, oh God, I'm that ignorant person. I have become that person who looks at people with unusual and great names and goes, no, they've just spelt it wrong. So that is my belated apology to you. But also, I do love the fact that it's unusual because it is so different.
Well, thank you so much. It is unique in its spelling, and there's a story behind it. Briefly, I am a twin. I have a twin brother, and we were born during the era where it was trendy to name your twins very similar names. And so my twin's name is Kevin. And so our initials are both KMS, and the first two letters of our names are KE. And so that's how that happened. But I oftentimes have to tell people, no, it's actually spelled that way on my birth certificate. It's not just something that I just made the decision to change. So I get that all the time.
I love that that was the fancy thing to do. So my mum, when I was 16, I had this big birthday party, and somehow people were asking questions like, what was Jess like as a baby? And the answer is, I was really, really fat. Like, there is not a child out there that was larger than I was as a baby. I had like rolls upon rolls that my mum thought were really cute. But when you're 16, that's not what you want on your birthday cake. So when she brought that out, I literally just died. I was like, great,
wow,
life is over. But someone said, if Jessica had been a boy, what would you have called her? And so here I am. I'm like, my mum's quite conservative. So I'm like, yeah, sure. It's going to be like Michael. Something fairly cool / religious, because, religious parents. And she went, well, it's funny. I really wanted Jessica to be a boy because I wanted her to be called Sebastian.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like,
thanks, Mom. I got Jessica.
Wow, that's so jazzy. And you went with Jessica, huh? Like, really?
Like, there are so many things between Sebastian and Jessica.
Yeah. And I'm like, how do you even get to that level? Like, at what point does Sebastian become one option, but, plain Jessica becomes the other? I was like, wow, okay, that's fantastic. So loving the unusual name. That makes me really happy. So you are the queen of money, right? That's kind of how I feel like I should introduce you, as the money queen, the money maven, the money woman, like the money superwoman. So tell us what it is that you are all about.
So the backstory with money, as it applies to what I help my clients with, is my background is 25 plus years of accounting and finance experience and processing tax returns and that sort of thing here in the U.S. And so I started out in my coaching and strategy business, helping small businesses with their back end accounting work, and moved into more of the strategic side of coaching. And helping women primarily get their money situations, their personal financial situations in order. And eventually that led to more of a strategic profitability type analysis and systems and strategy piece of my business. And that's where I focus now. So I help women, primarily women of color here in the U.S., build profitable and sustainable businesses from scratch.
Do you know what? I really love that. So I'm completely meandering here, but I really love that you said women of color, because I think, right, we're in a society, and maybe this is going to be like one of those episodes that really turns people off my podcast, because they'll be like,
well, hopefully not.
She's white and middle class. Like, what does she know? And it's true. I think it's one of those things. I grew up Irish Catholic, so there are some links there to understanding that actually sometimes people don't like you for who you are, but there are also links there to sometimes you're predisposed or you're taught that you shouldn't be successful because of beliefs, race, ethnicity, gender, like, and that for me is huge, because that's something, not only are we talking about helping women who typically don't charge as much, you know, we find it very difficult, we're heart-centered, and that means that generally we don't price as high. We also aren't taught as women to manage our money. At no point did ever anyone expect me to do anything related to finances, bar my mum, who was like, I want you to have a job with a briefcase. And that was it. She was like, you're going to work in business, you're going to have a briefcase. That's what you get when you call Jessica instead of Sebastian. If I'd have been Sebastian, I'd have been jazz hands on Broadway, but no. But it's that kind of thing. Women aren't taught to manage their money. And then women who are marginalized further, they have like a triad of problems. You know, suddenly it's nobody expects you to be successful. Nobody expects you to know how to manage your money. And guess what? Like, everyone's predisposed to thinking or having a perception or prejudgment of you before they even dig into that. And I think that's huge.
Absolutely. And I would totally agree with you. And so one of the things that African-American women face oftentimes, especially in corporate America, but also in just general business circles, is something called the angry Black woman syndrome. And perhaps it's a problem across the globe, but I can actually speak better to it from the US. That's where my experience lies. And so my tagline is Miss Mad Money. And I use that for several different reasons. The title of my book is Mad Money, Money After Divorce, Death, or Disaster. So it's an acronym. But it also is a play on the fact that Black women in the United States are easily tagged often with this angry Black woman syndrome. And it's also a hip hop term in relation to making a lot of money. So people will say, I want to make mad money. And that means I want to make a lot of money. And so it just really makes sense on so many different levels for me. I sometimes have to explain it, but I think that as I'm talking with people in my audience specifically, they're going to hit one of those challenge areas, or one of those, even the positive side of it. They're going to hit one of those areas before we stop talking. So
I love that. And I think it's huge, because, you know, I do think we forget. And one of the biggest things that I've learned about sales over the years is that there are some people that just don't want to buy from me because, in all honesty, I'm just not the person that they can relate to. And you know what? Sometimes it really stings. Like when I was in corporate and I'd go to meetings and they'd be like, oh, I thought you were going to be a guy. And I'm like, my name's Jessica. Like, how did you miss this? You know, and
somebody's not paying attention.
Well, this is it, right? and I'd show up and they'd be like, oh, are you the secretary? You're here to take notes. And I'm like, you don't want to buy from me because I'm female. Or they had to be educated that actually I was good at my job. But it is that we see it so often now. We have to understand that in order to sell to people, like, I'm not cool. Couldn't do a break dance if I tried. But my secret guilty pleasure is that I can rap any Eminem song ever, like any of them. And I sound, well, yeah, I know this is the problem there, isn't it? Because I sound white and middle class. And so when you're bashing out, Lose Yourself in the car park, you know, volume cranked up, and you speak like I do and you look like I do, people don't really expect that. And it's a shock, you know. And again, you forget that it's the same when we sell. If you want to sell to your people, like, and I don't mean your people, that sounded horrendously not PC.
I totally get what you mean though.
But if you want to sell to your ideal clients, you have to be what they expect you to be, you know. And that's why authenticity is so important. That's why it's so important to show up as you, rather than being like, oh yeah, cool, well, Jess makes a lot of money, she's middle class, white, like speaks like a bit of a posho, I'm going to do that. It doesn't work that way.
And in all honesty, and just being completely transparent here, it took me until just recently to become comfortable saying who it is to other people, to say who it is I really serve. And so I would do things like, if you look at my websites and any of my Facebook pages and a lot of my content, I use images of Black women.
Yeah.
But I don't really say it in the copy of my website. And I know why I do that. I know it's because of some of the pushback that I've received from talking with people, not only just the woman of color thing, but just targeting women specifically in general can sometimes get people's backup. Like, why would you limit yourself to serving women only? And then you're put into a position where you feel like you have to explain, where if I would just pay attention to those who are in my ideal client audience, they would just get it. They would get it. And so I'm glad I got to that place.
But you have to. I was talking to my boyfriend about this. So last year on International Women's Day, which is coming up, like as an FYI for everyone listening, International Women's Day is on the way. Expect some great posts and expect some like, we hate men posts. And I hate those posts. I will be the first advocate.
But they will be there.
Block. But last year on International Women's Day, I wrote this post about, I just want to be equal. I was like, I don't want you to look at me and go, well done, Jess, you're a woman. Yay, you set up a business. Nice work. That's not, for me, what equality is. For me, equality means, hey, Jess, you did something. It's really good. Congratulations as a business owner, from one business owner to another. And my boyfriend said to me, well, do you know what I've never mentioned about your business, but actually I think is really sexist? And I was like, nothing, because I'm great and I stand for equality. And he's like, you don't work with men. And I was like, no, there's a difference. I don't market to men, but I do have male clients. And I don't mind that. As long as my male clients are happy to be like, Jess is pretty eccentric, her stuff is pink, that's not going to change. But I want to talk to her about sales, and I know that her sales style will resonate with my people. That's all cool. It's just that my primary target market are not men. Like, I'm not going to go on Instagram and be like, here's my bicep, my non-existent bicep. So I think that's so interesting. And I really love that you're taking that stand. It takes
thank you.
Well, still
thank you so much. I appreciate that. And it's funny that you said that about your business and what your boyfriend said about it, because I had the conversation with someone just yesterday about this very thing. And I shared with her that although my target audience is women of color, one of the very first people who signed up for my membership was a Caucasian woman. And it's not like I said, hey, you can't become a member of my membership. No, that's not what we did. That's not how any of this works. So, yeah.
I think it's amazing. I'm really glad. And actually, this is one of those times where I'm like, oh God, I have a really big mouth. This is a conversation and a can of worms I could have potentially opened up that could have gone horrendously wrong. So thank you for being transparent about it, because it is really difficult. As somebody who has lived a relatively privileged life, whose parents both worked, who was fortunate enough to have holidays and stuff growing up, and to be white, I think that's something I have to be open about. I've been white. People I don't have the same history. I don't have the same cultural identity. And sometimes it's really hard to sit back and go, I understand, because I don't. And I can't understand. All I can do is listen to other people who are making waves in the community and go, I really support you and I really appreciate what you're doing.
Right. And I appreciate that standpoint. I appreciate you being transparent enough to both recognize that and comfortable enough to have a conversation about it, because that's where it starts, right?
Exactly. And that's the thing. So there you go. If you're listening today, look at us, me and Kemberli, sorting out the all of the divides. Bring us
all of the world's problems.
Bring us a question about, rap versus, I don't know, pop, and we will sort that. We've got this. But speaking of transitions and change and transformation, your question today links in really nicely to that, because now we've got the full backstory of where you've kind of come from contextually. What are you doing at the moment? What's your big sales question?
So my question is, because I have been a coach slash strategist for some time, I have built a list. I have built a Facebook group that is sizable. It's not huge, but it's sizable. And I've tried different things over the past few years. And I finally have found the thing that I need to focus, that I know that I need to focus on for the next couple of years. And my question is, how do I transition people who are either on my list or in my group, or just kind of in my circle of influence? How do I transition them and begin to market to them for the product that I'm currently focused on without losing them, without having to start completely over?
Yeah.
And or re-educate anyone? Like, what's a really smooth way to try and do that?
So I think the first thing to look at is, where have you come from? So like, you're obviously focusing now on your membership site, right? So did you previously work one-to-one, and is that what you're moving away from into the membership model?
Yes, I was previously a one-to-one, probably 95% of the time type of business coach.
And you moved over to the membership site. So why did you move over to the membership?
Purely selfish reasons. I'll be honest with you. When I made the decision, I still worked in corporate. I actually do still maintain a corporate 9-to-5 job.
Amazing.
Being fully transparent. And I knew that there's only so many hours in a day. You only get 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week. And I realized that I can't help the number of clients that I would love to be able to help between the hours of 6 in the evening and let's say 11 o'clock at night, and not kill myself in the process of trying to get that done. It wasn't efficient, and I wasn't able to be as effective as I would like to have been. And so I came up with the thought of, if I could go beyond the group coaching model, because I didn't want to continually have to recreate programs and relaunch programs, that sort of thing. I wanted something that was systematized and easy to deliver, and that I could control the content and the scheduling of everything that happens. And so that's why I made the decision to go with the membership model.
Perfect. And so do you think that membership actually benefits people more than it would have done if they were working with you one-to-one?
That's a great question. I do think that it benefits people more, because I think that in a lot of ways, when I was working with clients one-to-one, I was giving a lot of answers. I was sort of spoon feeding clients versus with the membership model, the way that it's built, we do have some group coaching opportunities in there every month, but there is also pre-recorded content. And so I think it helps kind of people to grow up a little bit and begin to look for things on their own and develop their own plan of action versus me giving them the answer all the time.
And it also introduces them to a community that they can network and that they can use for support and all that kind of thing. So to be as simple as possible, that's your transition. That's what you need to explain to people. Look, I'm moving away from this model. And there might be, I retired from one-on-one coaching in September 2016. I was like, I'm just done. I just don't want to do it anymore. Ugh. Earlier this year, I came back and I was like, actually, I can take one person every so often, but they have to be special. They have to be the right person, and I have to really buy into what they're doing or whatever. So you can say to people, look, I don't want to kill myself. I want to get a bigger message out there. I want to help more of you. But also I'm recognizing that some of the stuff one-to-one just wasn't working for you. It wasn't connecting you with other people to support you. It was spoon feeding, and that's fine to a certain degree. But then when I leave, you've become codependent. And so suddenly you're panicking because you've got to find somebody else to fill the space. And that's not actually the message or the mission that I have. That doesn't align with me. I want to create a community of people who are independent, who can reach out for support, but who are kind of self-motivated enough to action it and to use community and to use public accountability to make it happen. And so if
Right.
you're that kind of learner, like if you want a community support to support you, if you want my eyes on your stuff every month, if you want good, solid information that actually works, strategies that actually help, implementable, actionable content, then I'm for you.
Okay.
If you want me to hold your hand for 6 months, then I'm not.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So
that makes a lot of sense.
It's not about like telling them to sort off. It's more about just saying, look, this is who I'm for now. And characteristics wise, the people that operate best with this model and that are most successful are the people who are this, and this.
That makes perfect sense.
I don't think you'll lose that many people. I really don't.
Okay.
You know, I wouldn't worry about that. I would stress to people, if you have questions, if you're concerned, if you're like, oh God, Kemberli, but I really wanted to work with you one-on-one, or does this mean that I'll never be able to do a group program with you or anything like that, then reach out to me and talk to me. So before you leave, if you love me, which obviously we hope they do, and you're thinking, oh God, I might not be right for this, please reach out and talk to me. Because what I'm not doing is kicking any of you out. What I'm saying is that my business model is changing to best serve you. So if you have questions, I can let you know how you fit into the new model, or I can let you know what's coming up that might be a better opportunity.
Right. And as you were talking, I was thinking about another, what I guess I would categorize as a benefit, is that when I was doing one-on-one coaching, we were spending a lot of time on very basic things that was not utilizing their resources or their time and the money spent on a one-on-one appointment with me. So I think that the membership model allows them to find the information that they need at that basic level, and then forces us sort of to, when we are spending time together, whether it's in a group setting or one-on-one, on more intense, high level, strategic things that they may be dealing with. And I think that I'm confident that that's much more beneficial to them.
This is the thing. So I always say to people, and you're a dotty, right? Everything that comes out, the dotties get access to first. So if I have any places on anything, I'm like, just let you know, this is what I'm going to have. If I've got any one-to-one spots, I'm out there and I'm like, just let you know, this is what I have. You've got no obligation to buy, but because you are the people who already identify, because I've already tracked your journey, because I already know where you are, if you want this, it's yours. That makes it much easier for them, because they know that you're not putting opportunities in front of them just because you're spraying and praying the market.
Right.
But also makes it easier for you. If I see people in my community, in my paid communities, who I'm like, you need this, whether it's my help, extra help, or somebody else's, or a different resource, I'll always tell them. Because ultimately, as a client, that's what we pay for. We pay for somebody else's perspective and for them to be objective and for them to help us get the results we want. Sometimes that means we have to go and do other things, right? With a membership community, it's easier to do that. And that's what I'd be saying to them. It's like, look, I'm not pushing anyone out of the nest and saying, I don't want to work with you. And I don't want to work with you if you only need basic knowledge. What I'm saying is conserve your cash, learn the foundational things in the right setting, and then actually spend your money wisely on the things that you need. If you need a specific project plan or a specific marketing thing or a specific business or sales or health or whatever, then you have the capital there, rather than just blowing it on a one-on-one coach who's going to tell you how to create a first lead magnet.
That's incredible. That right there, that's absolutely incredible. And I love that.
Well, yeah, at least it's recorded, right? You can literally take it and be like, whoa.
Absolutely.
That's the good
Thank
thing.
you.
Like, you're so welcome, my love. Does that help? Like, is there anything about that you're like, I'm not sure on how I announce that, or is there anything else there that you need from me?
No, I think that really covers the biggest of my struggles right now, where I am with the membership. So we launched for the first time in December of 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you and we had spoken before, and we talked about different levels of membership. And while I'm not quite ready to speak about the higher level options that will become available, I do think that we're going to do a small launch in March.
Yeah.
Only on, people who are already on my list or already in my group, not necessarily to the world at large, but we'll do another launch, and that's primarily to not only build the numbers, but to kind of work the kinks out of the launch process itself. We'll do that in March, and then we'll go for our second big launch later this year. So this is so tremendously helpful for where I am right now.
I honestly don't think, I think with a plan like that, you won't lose people, because remember, we only lose, our clients only walk away, or our audience only walks away when they don't feel like they fit anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. What you're not saying is you don't fit. You're saying I'm tweaking things to make them better if this is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
If you want the more advanced stuff, I'm still here. Right? That's cool. But if you're somebody who is focusing on these foundational activities, rather than watch you go out and spend your money on something ridiculous, a 20K coaching package, spend it, 50 quid a month, 100 quid a month, learn that here, and then go out and do that. And that's not going to lose your audience.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Okay. I feel a lot better.
Good.
I feel a lot better. Thank you.
You're so welcome, my love. I can't wait to see you announce it. Like, that's going to be really good fun. You'll have to let me know how that goes.
I will. Absolutely.
Social media.
Thank you so much, Jess.
I want to see
all over.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I honestly so appreciate it. Where can people find you? If they want to continue the discussion about making mad money, I'm going to have to use that phrase now. I'm not calling it. I'm going with it. Where can people find you? Where should they start?
So I'm all over social media at Miss Mad Money. And where I would love to connect with people most is in my Facebook group. And it's a closed Facebook group, but so you do have to ask for admission to the group. But we respond to those requests pretty quickly, and it's the Mad Money Society on Facebook.
Amazing. I love it. So there we go. If you have questions about making mad money in your business, literally can't stop saying it, then you need to go and head over to the Mad Money Society. The link will be in the show notes for you, and you can obviously go and connect with Kemberli whenever you like. That's been it for this episode. It's been an absolute whirlwind. If you have enjoyed it, please make sure you hit the subscribe button on iTunes. Don't miss another one. And make sure you hit that review button too. If you have liked the conversation today, if you felt like we were interesting, we kept you engaged, and you enjoyed it, I know that I would certainly love to hear how we got on. And I will see you in the next episode.